Okay, now let's start the next module, which is Administer Data Protection. Obviously, when we are working with cloud, data protection is one of the most important things. How exactly we can take care of data protection? Let's check out in this particular video. In this module, first we are going to understand Azure Backup, and then we are going to talk about how can we protect our virtual machines by using Azure Backup. Basically, we can use backup for storage, databases, and even virtual machine servers. We are going to talk about virtual machine servers in depth. And obviously, we have a lab also associated with that, in which we are going to use services like Azure Site Recovery and Backup Vault. Let's start this module with the introduction to Azure Backup. So, what is backup actually? Azure Backup Service is a cloud-specific service which is helping you to take a backup of your data. It can take care of your recovery point so that you can recover the data from any particular point in time restored. It's going to take care of your storage management. It's going to take care of authentication, authorization. It's going to take care of the policy management and compliance associations with that. Basically, Azure Backup Service is one utility which is helping you to take care of everything for your Azure Backup. It also has a backup agents configuration. These agents are going to help you to integrate with your on-premise files, folders, and system state, and you can also back up an on-premise servers with your Azure cloud. It has a built-in backup configuration enabled for various Azure services like Azure Virtual Machines, Azure Managed Disk, Azure File Share, SQL servers in Azure Virtual Machines, which is also infrastructure as a service, SAP HANA databases in Azure Virtual Machines, Azure databases for PostgreSQL and servers, and Azure blobs. Wherever you're going to store your important data or your server-specific data, Azure Backup can help you with that. Now the question is, how exactly Azure Backup works, and what is this which is known as Vault? Well, we have something which is known as Backup Center, which is a cloud-specific configuration which is taking care of all your backup process and services. This is something which is coming and working under the management plane. This management plane is going to take care of your Vault and your backup policy configurations with that. Basically, you can create Vault to store your backup copies, recovery points, and backup policies. Basically, what data you want to store as a snapshot and what kind of a policy configurations you want to do, all this information will be stored inside your backup vaults. And you can manage this kind of multiple backup vaults with the centralized backup center. There are two types of vaults which are available, Backup Vault and Recovery Service Vault. What is the difference between these two different vaults? Well, basically, one is taking care of the backup of the data, so you can use it when you want to restore it, and the Recovery Service Vault is mainly useful when you want to replicate the data, and in case of failover, you want to take care of the data replication. We are going to try both of them in the lab, so maybe at that time you'll understand it better. Backup policies are also available to define the data source, storage vault, and backup schedule with that. Basically, this is one-time solution which is going to help you with BCDR, Business Continuity Disaster Recovery Solutions. And this is going to provide a single unified management experience for this. As you can see here, this is a slide which is showing you Azure Business Continuity Center. This Business Continuity Center is basically created for BCDR, and it's going to focus on business continuity and disaster recovery protection. How you're actually going to manage everything under one umbrella, how you can take care of what kind of resources are protected from a disaster specific failures is all going to be visible in your one centralized service which is known as Business Continuity Center. This Action Center is going to protect your Azure data as well as hybrid and edge environments also. It's going to help you to configure monitoring capabilities across multiple solutions at a scale. It's going to help you to evaluate your current configuration, and proactively is going to give you notification and alerts of any particular gaps or vulnerabilities which are found in that. You can also focus on compliance against the applied policies and any particular resources which are not in the protected status or maybe not following the compliance guidelines. You will get notification of that, and you will get a centralized management and monitoring service inside the Business Continuity Center. Hey guys, sorry for interruption. My name is Maruti and I'm here to make a very important announcement. I hope you are liking our videos and you're doing a continuous learning with us on an Azure Cloud and AI related topics. If you are enjoying this thing, I'm going to announce skilltech.club, which is our upcoming website, which is going to be launched very soon. We are here to tell you one thing, that everyone who is a subscriber of this particular channel will get Azure Cloud and Azure AI related certification courses free of cost in skilltech.club. So you will be a part of the skilltech.club kind of a membership automatically free of cost. And everyone who's a subscriber of this particular channel will get those benefits which are available in that. So what are you waiting for? I request you to please subscribe to this channel and share it with your friends and families if they are also interested in Azure Cloud and AI learning. That's it from my side. Now you can carry on with your learning. Thank you. Now let's talk about protecting your virtual machines by using Azure Backup. Obviously, you can protect your Azure virtual machines as well as your on-premise virtual machine also. In this module, we are going to talk about Azure virtual machines. So let's explore which options we can use to protect our virtual machine data. Well, the first option is we can take a snapshot. We can have a managed snapshot, which is going to provide a quick and simple option for backing up your virtual machines that use managed disk. Basically, the snapshot is a point-in-time kind of a backup which is configured for that managed disk of the virtual machine. Second, you can configure Azure Backup, which support application consistent backup for both Windows and Linux virtual machines. If you have a virtual machines with an application server kind of a web server, then you can use Azure Backup for that. And then the biggest one or the most powerful one, which is Azure Site Recovery, which is basically going to help you to protect with multiple virtual machines of major disaster scenarios in which the whole site of your Azure virtual network with multiple virtual machines can be protected with the help of Azure Site Recovery. Remember, even if your whole region is down, if your data center itself is actually affected by some kind of a disaster, still Azure Site Recovery can protect your data by replicating that into a secondary region. This slide is actually talking about how can we create a virtual machine snapshots in Azure Backup. Well, basically it's a very simple thing. You are going to use your virtual machine. You're going to use the snapshots which is taken as a part of the backup job. These snapshots are going to be periodically stored inside your Azure disk, and then it's going to reduce your recovery wait time. So you don't need to wait for data transfer to the vault to finish. It's already going to be available into the snapshot. Then you can use Recovery Service Vault, which is going to help you to configure an instant restore retention, and is something which is going to be either standard or enhanced one. Depends upon that, you can transfer your data to the vault and then you can configure your Azure Backup. Multiple servers can also be protected using a same Recovery Service Vault. So when you want to configure Azure Recovery Service and with the Backup Vault, you can actually configure multiple virtual machines with that. It can be Hyper-V virtual machines, VMware virtual machines, or maybe you are going to take a bare metal recovery kind of a configuration. All of this will be available from Azure workloads as well as the on-premise workloads can be backed up with the help of Recovery Service Vault. When you focus on backupping virtual machine, basically you're going to follow the three-step process. First, you obviously have to create a Recovery Service Vault. This vault is going to help you to perform your virtual machine backup and choose a replication strategy with that. Most of the time, this Recovery Service Vault is going to be configured in any other region other than the primary region. Second, you're going to use a portal to define the backup configuration. How frequently you want to take snapshot, how long you want to retain it. All these configurations will be stored inside this configuration of the backup configuration. And then the third step is you are going to back up the virtual machine. So for the backup extensions to work, you have to configure your Azure Virtual Machine agents, and that must be installed on the Azure Virtual Machines. If that is installed, it's going to take care of the backup configurations with that. This screenshot is basically showing you that how you can restore your virtual machines. Once you trigger the restore operation, the backup service is going to create a job for tracking and restoring operation. These jobs are mostly going to be executed in the background by Azure Automation account. The Azure Automation account is going to take care of the scheduled jobs as well as the job execution. And that is also something where we can check the activity logs as well as we can configure the monitoring and alert notification for that. Another important aspect which we have to keep in mind is how can we manage soft delete. When you enable soft delete for your data, it's actually going to have a retention available with that. Your backup data can be retained for 14 additional days if you want. As you can see here, we have a backup item which is configured here. Now, the moment you stop backup and delete data, is actually going to do the soft delete state into that. The soft delete state is still going to keep the data for a minimum duration of multiple days. Now, when you are done with these days, the retention period is over, then the data is going to be deleted. You can recover the deleted backup items using the undelete operation which is available inside that if you have enabled soft delete. Also, it is available for storage account, containers, and file share, so you can take advantage of this in multiple services. It's natively built in for all the Recovery Service Vault, that is going to have a soft edit configuration available for that. Suppose if you are not able to retrieve this thing, or if you are not intentionally retrieving the data within this retention period, then after 14 days, it means on the 15th day, the data is actually going to be deleted permanently. And after that, you cannot recover it. Now, this slide is actually talking about Azure Site Recovery. As I already told you that Azure Site Recovery is one of that service which is helping you to take care of the whole site recovery. Even if the big disaster is happening and the whole region is going down, still your application, your virtual machines, your network is going to be available in the secondary region of your Azure cloud. This is going to manage the orchestration of the disaster recovery. As you can see in this architectural diagram, we have region 1, which is a primary region, and that is the one which is going to be active. Most of the time, we work with the active passive mode. So the region 2 is grayed out right now because that is something which is not in the active mode. It's a passive region. The moment failover happens, at that time only, region 2 is going to be activated. But that does not mean that data is not going to be replicated in that. The goal is like this, that replication is going to work continuously from the primary location to the secondary location kind of a region. The data replication is going to be a continuous process, and whatever data you have in region 1 will be synchronized into a region 2 all the time. Suppose if the failover happens and if the primary region goes down, at that moment, the region 2 is going to become active and all the virtual machines are going to be provisioned with the help of the replica disk, which is already replicated and synchronized into the secondary region. This failover is actually something which is also customizable as per your requirement. You can do taste failover, you can do failover customization, and you can also change the recovery point object if you are not happy with the one particular recovery. With this is the end of this particular module. I strongly recommend you to go through the lab number 10, which is the next video. It's one of the most interesting lab if you are focusing on business continuity and disaster recovery. Thank you.